Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for Honda HRV 1.6 SE Navigator. I do apologise, wind has literally just picked up in the last half an hour. It was calm before, so I hope you can hear me. Lovely car, just 68,000 miles on the clock, wonderful service history. It comes with the exterior styling add-ons, the little sort of silver trims on the side and rear, front and rear of the car. They're very subtle, but they really do give the car extra presence. The car's very nice, certainly for an 8-year-old car. Front of the car, lights and lenses are clear and intact. There's no cracks or condensation in them. Bumper very clean. Likewise, bonnet very, very clean indeed. Can't see any stone chips of any note on there. Near side of the car, nice and smooth in the panels. There's no obvious indentations that I can see. There has been a new set of alloys, new set of tyres fitted to the car, or just fitted by the way. Alloy on this side, generally good. There is some light pickling, which you tend to get on these at this sort of age, but I have to say this one's far better than most. Same with the rear alloy, but better than the front certainly. From around the back of the car, very clean and tidy. See the silver trim insert there. Offside of the car, again, very smooth in the panels. Offside rear alloy, good, with only some minor pickling on it. And then remaining panels, very clean. And final alloy, that's probably got most. It said it's just under the lacquer, but it's said compared to most of its age, it's actually very good. Coming to the boot area, really good sized boot, and they've finished them very nicely. This one's been kept in really lovely condition. Let's come into the back of the car now. Again, all very clean and tidy. Loads of rear leg room, really clever. You've got the magic seats in the back, so the seat bases fold up. But it's been kept very nicely as well. Let's go to the front of the passenger side. All very clean and tidy there. Finally in on the front, again, all areas nice and clean. Driver's seat itself, again, very good indeed. So inside the car now, as always, the engine's running for this section, so dashboard can be seen illuminated. Really lovely dash designs in here as well. Sat nav, you can see, working exactly as it should. Climate control panel, but it has been kept really rather nicely. And to come to the main dash binnacle for you, hopefully you can see 68,552 miles. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all whilst the engine's running. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda HRV. It's a 1.6 diesel SE Navigator. Car's registered HY15PFZ, and with a mileage of 68,530 recorded. The reason we do all of our videos, and especially actually the road test section here, is to ensure that if anyone's actually online looking at any of our cars, they get to see the very car advertised actually in operation. The reason we feel it's important is simply because, like lots of people have been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs or description, but only to get there and find out it's got an obvious fault that shows up when driving the car. So hence that's why we do it. Also done on these very quiet country roads in this lovely part of Gloucestershire, and this forms actually part of the road test route we take our customers on, and the hope is that obviously it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, been very, very well maintained, I have to say, throughout its life, and it's immediately obvious when you drive the car because it's as tight as a drum. It really is. Engine starts instantly and settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, but a fabulous, fabulous engine. It's, you know, when you're on the move, it's quiet, it's smooth, it's refined, it's got a lovely power band. You know, it's a broad power band. It's not just sort of a narrow. For a split second, you've got to change up or down. You know, you can be kind of relatively lazy with the engine. It'll respond at all times. I mean, its headline, of course, is, you know, the economies are astonishing on these things. They really, really are. And unlike some diesels, it actually comes relatively easily to it. Some you have to really nurse along, but these, you know, it still pays to drive smoothly, and obviously at sensible speeds. But they're not, you know, one of those you've got to really feather the throttle at all times. You do have little kind of gear change prompts. You've got an econ mode you can put the engine in, which does help to some degree. So all these little aids to help there. Being a Honda, of course, reliability and longevity are all but a given. You know, they're incredibly tough, beautifully engineered cars. No cam belts on them, cam chains, so no scheduled change through the life of the engine. And I've never changed one on a 1.6 diesel ever. Engine then feeds them to the clutch and gearbox. Clutch on the car, absolutely smooth, slick, bite points exactly where it's meant to be. So I just changed my heating controls. So all absolutely perfect there. Gearbox is fantastic. Honda made a real effort to make this, you know, quite a sporty feel in terms of certainly the sort of the dynamics and the gear change of the car, and done a brilliant job. You've got this kind of stubby little gear lever, really short throw, lovely kind of snicky action to it. You know, far more kind of, I don't know, they put a lot more effort into it than, say, some other manufacturers in this class, which give you these kind of long, ponderous gear changes. It's a gear change you know, you genuinely enjoy using, rather than necessarily having to use it. And it feels absolutely as it would have done when it was new. There's just zero wear in it, but that again is fairly typical for these. Chassis of the vehicle, you know, firstly you notice steering, which tracks dead straight, by the way. There's no vibrations at the speed or any speed up to the legal limit, but really nicely weighted. It's really precise, it's accurate, it's, you know, it's just a really nice setup. It works in conjunction with the chassis brilliantly well, because it actually changes direction really nicely. So it's more, you know, slightly more sporty than some of the other stuff out there. So you go into corners like this, minimal movement to the steering wheel, turns in faithfully, very little body roll, which is really nicely done. The ride comfort's excellent in the car, very comfortable cars, but not at the expense of, you know, be able to go through the corners. As I said, the corners are quite flat. It flows the corners very nicely indeed. I've owned a couple of these and really enjoyed them when I've had them, but also just a civilised, smooth car to drive along in. Also noticeable by their absence, so any kind of knocks or clonks or rattles coming from underneath the car that shouldn't be there. So all in fine order. I'm just going to give the brakes a bit of a shove. Leave my braking to a little bit late just here. That's really good brake pedal on the car. What I'm looking for is you know, just good bite, which it definitely has, but also that, you know, there shouldn't be any kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal, and there are none at all. So all absolutely spot on there. Finally coming inside, and the car's only just come to us. We haven't cleaned it yet, but obviously it's going to be cleaned, but it'll clean up very nicely indeed. They are very well built, of course. I can't hear any obvious squeaks or rattles in here, you know, even an 8-year-old car. The dash layout is, again, I really like, because it's just actually relatively simple, but it's a little bit different as well. There's the, you know, slightly different finish, like the piano finish here. You've got also touch screen for your ventilation system, but it's all separate from the sat nav, which you can see clearly working there. But the first impressions when you get in the car, it's just very pleasant. It all kind of wraps around you really nicely, and as I said, all working exactly as it should. You've got dual zone climate control, so you can have different temperatures side to side if you so wish. We did pop it in the warm workshop earlier, and it blows out lovely cold air, so that's all functioning exactly as it should. Then directly in front of me, you got this just very simple dials, almost like they're floating. I mean, it's so minimalist by modern standards, which is, you know, it's all the better for it, in all honesty. There's just no distractions. You look at the dash, you take the information in, look back at the road exactly as it should be, but is rarely the case these days. And then you get this lovely leather-bound steering wheel, which exhibits absolutely zero wear, so again, very, very nice indeed. We haven't had an HRV for a little while, actually, certainly a month or two, and it's always nice to get back into one, because they are just a really lovely car. You can see why they're so sought after second hand, but also why they, you know, command a good price. They really hold their value well. So even though they're dear relatively to buy, you know, your investment is better protected with these, because they seem to depreciate more slowly. But it's obvious why, because it's a high quality product at the end of the day, compared to some fairly sort of cheap stuff in its particular category there. I can't fault it in any way. It drives absolutely beautifully.